This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 19, verse 31. Regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek after wizards to be defiled by them. I am the Lord your power. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory. Call halal Allah, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shah, Waha Rachak, Kodash Wakatham. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Taught me this truth. Peace and salutations to the Akim around the four corners of the earth, pushing the truth with faith and sincerity, risking their lives and the freedom to do so. Shalom to the Akwat and the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord willing, is an edifying video. Shalom to the confusion of faith, brethren, joining into our ranks. Once again, it's the brother Yahweh Sop out of the GMS Church, a fellow servant, coming back at you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Yahweh Shah. Another lesson out of the book Mass Control, Engineering Human Consciousness by Jim Keith. Chapter 13, page 119, and it's subtitled Occult Connections. Jumping right in, it says, it is difficult to overestimate the role of religion and occultism in the history of world control. This is one means by which zealots are molded who are unable to evaluate effectively and who thus can be turned to the purposes of their controllers. In many religious or occult groups, the zombieism of the mind controlled is the entry fee, and the disposal problem for getting rid of the victims of mind control is not so formidable, since cult members have often become disaffected with their former friends and family. A quick scan through cultic history in recent years reveals significant branching connections, a few of which I will cover in this book. A prime instance of CIA involvement in a cult in recent years is the case of Jim Jones' People's Temple. Although nary a word of these dark underpinnings has slipped into mainstream accounts of the group. Evangelist Jim Jones started out as a member of Bertrand Russell's Fellowship of Reconciliation, which sponsored him at Butler College in Indianapolis. The fellowship is reported to have financed his first trip to Brazil in 1961. Jones at the time told the Brazilians that he was in the employ of the naval intelligence, and both his food and lodging during his stay were provided by the U.S. Embassy. While in Brazil, Jones took regular trips to Belo Horizonte, the location of CIA headquarters in the region, and returned to the United States with an unexplained 10,000 cash windfall. Apparently, Jones was doing more than missionary work. Bear with me for a second. Continue. Psalm 64. I'm going to get straight to the point. Psalm 64, verse 2. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity. At the end of the day, these men, and that's what all the CIA and all those covert operations, all those spy agencies, what do you think that is? You know what I mean? I mean, it's a known fact that, the U.S. military is basically, what's that one fucking, I can't think of his name. Back in the day, I knew his name. You have to go look him up, but basically, they had like a general, somebody that basically he's the new head of the Satanic Church, Michael Aquino. That's his name, Michael Aquino. That's the spirit just gave me that because I couldn't think of it. Michael Aquino. He ended up taking over the Church of Satan after Anton LaVey died, and he was a general, or he's a general in the military now. I was reading something about him. They said that he came up with like a spell during Vietnam. I forgot where I read it at. I read a lot of different material. So I understand completely when the apostles and elders say, reading too much different stuff. That's why they suggest you not to read too many different things or you bug out. Through the spirit, power, and grace of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah, I haven't. You know what I mean? At one point in time, I'm going to be honest, just, here's the spirit on me to tell the truth. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, when I first came into the truth and I had a mean testimony, I ain't going to say the meanest, you know what I mean? Everybody's catching hell in some kind of way, and everybody done been through something. If they ain't been through it yet, they may be going to go through it in the future. At the end of the day, when I come into the truth, I you know, because you had all I had all these different people in my ear, you know what I mean? And then like the elder said it, you know, people want to feel like they deep, you know what I mean? You know, the book of Yasher and Enoch and all that. And I was just I forgot who brought that up. No, that was the elder in South Carolina. You know, because as much time as I thought about it, I never thought about it. Like he said, you know, he debunked that book so easily. He said, you know, they said, you know, in one of those books, I think it's the book of Yasher, it says that Esau cut off Nimrod's head. He said, but how did that happen if Nimrod was alive before Esau? And you're like, yeah, damn, you know, like, so that show you how the, you know, false fact. Where's that scripture at? Bear with me for a second. This is Second Peter's 1 and verse 16. I'm gonna get to the point. For we have not followed cunningly devised fables when we made known unto you the power of coming of our Lord Yahweh Shah Mashiach. And I'm gonna just stop there because the point is we, you know, that's a cunningly devised fable. You know what I mean? Like Enoch thing, or you know, Yasher, or like Elder Malcolm went into like the Amazonian women. You know what I mean? A society of women that these women are just so much more advanced than other women. You know, he did a video speaking on how it's just coming out about the fact that a lot of women couldn't pass the cervix exams as far as the physical exams at the in the service. Salakia, bear with me for a second. Continue. What I was talking about. So basically, you know, like that whole myth of the Amazonian women. You know, it's a fable. It's some bullshit. You know, cunningly revised, but fable devised nonetheless. Um, Back to Occult Connections, it says apparently Jones was doing more than missionary work. According to one account, Jones had been part of a CIA effort attempting a government overthrow in South America and distributed leaflets and stirred up revolutionary sentiments during his stay. It is alleged that one of Jones' earliest source of financing for his work, Slovakia. It is alleged that one of Jones's earliest source of financing for his work was Rabbi Maurice Davis, who provided him a church in Indianapolis. Davis was on board of the American Family Foundation, the founding group for the Cult Awareness Network, and worked as a chaplain at the National Institute for Mental Health's infamous Lexington Addiction Research Center, where MK Ultra research had been done. Jones moved his growing fellowship to Ukiah, California. Never heard of that. Where reports from the disaffected from his group said that behavior modification experiments were performed on the congregation. According to People's Temples, according to the according to People's Temple researcher Michael Myers, early temple experiments in sensory deprivation are not well documented, but it is known that Jones imparted this expertise to Donald Dick Freeze, who utilized the technique to brainwash Patricia Hearst. Wow. Also, according to Myers, Tom Grubbs, a psychologist with the University of California, was in charge of the box. Grubbs, who was also principal of the Jonestown School, Salakia, personally constructed Jones's Salakia, sensory deprivation chamber. In Ukiah, Jones became chairman of the county guard jury. Salakia. Man, I'm tripping. Jones became chairman of the county grand jury and worked with many wealthy collaborators, including persons connected to military intelligence agencies. The Jones group also infiltrated and took over the Mediso, Mendocino State Hospital as part of a government pilot project to evaluate the feasibility of deinstitutionalizing mental patients. And you know, I remember growing up, they was talking about like I can't think of the name of the fucking it used to be a mental hospital um I can't think of the damn name of it though, but I remember a lot of older Jakes would tell us about it. Like, and that's why you like at certain times they would just do that. The government or the county or the officials will release certain people. Like every so often they'll release like some hardcore criminals. You know what I mean? You got guys that might have spent the last 10, 15 years in prison. Bear with me for a second. Um, Salakia, it's a lot going on. Um, basically, I was getting at how they said that like, let's say for instance, you got a group of individuals that like, because a lot of these, not to say that this generation ain't got no people that can do what you call violence or whatnot, but it's just like guys that've been locked up for the last 10, 15 years, they'll come out of prison looking at this shit and be going like, wow, like they feel like they like what's his name? Buck Rogers in that movie, that show Buck Rogers. You know what I mean? Like the future, they in the future now. You know what I mean? Because things have changed so dramatically. So at the end of the day, you know, at certain points in time, the government will do that. You know what I mean? They said they just cleared out a whole mental hospital. I forgot the name of this hospital here, and these really people that was like sedated and observed and locked up. They walking amongst and that's why you see it a lot. Like you'll see it amongst the homeless. I mean that can happen to you as a homeless person. You know what I mean? But usually those the ones that's really really gone. Those are the people that was actually like mental patients and whatnot. And it's through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah if you escape that. I was just at my job the other day and it was a guy telling me how he was on drugs really, really heavy. And now he's no longer on drugs. And he was like, the doctor looked at how much drugs was in his system. And he was like, he was just so amazed at how is he still alive. So he like, well, it had to be a miracle. Um, at the end of the day, my mind got to racing. I'm thinking about a million things, but of course, it's going to be a continuation of this lesson because there's a lot more information I want to bring out. And if people aren't familiar with Jim Jones, I've heard for years how Jim Jones was an agent of the CIA, and I believe that, just because simple fact, you got guys that got those little small badges, but they aren't a part of the police force, but they got these little tiny badges. So they like sleeper cells, they watch and they work for Esau. You know what I'm saying? Like, you'd be surprised, people make it seem like this is so far fetched. It's not reality when, reality is stranger than fiction. So I'm going to stop there. And with that, I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory. Call halal Allah Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah Waha Arachak. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me the truth. Peace and salutations to the Akim around the four corners of the earth, pushing the truth with faith and sincerity, risking their lives and freedom to do so. Shalom to the Akwatini Akim out there listening and learning. Lord willing to edify the video. Shalom to the confusing the face, brethren, join up to our ranks. And with that, I want to say shalom, and abad the ball. Shalom.